Well, everyone, thank you for joining us today. My name is Casey Callum, and I'm joined by my colleagues Stacy Campbell, Raina Camargo, and Wendy Poncetti. And today, Wendy Poncetti is going to be presenting Work Smarter, Not Harder. So this is kind of a showcase of some of the most common GP products or GP third-party add-on products that we see around. So most of you are familiar with these products and may even use them. SmartList Builder, Advanced SmartFill, and they're all called SmartList Builder, Advanced SmartFill, Advanced SmartView, and SmartFill. So anyway, these are all products that make GP just work a little bit better, and the goal of them is to make your life easier. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Wendy, and she's going to show us the webinar. And a couple of housekeeping items. If you do want to resize your screen, there's a plus and a minus button on the right-hand side, so you can zoom in and zoom out yourself. And then also, if you do need CPE credits, we will be sending out an evaluation form after the meeting. So please indicate that you do want a CPE credit and fill that form out. And then Stacy will make sure she gets that over to you. All right, Wendy, take it away.
Thank you, Casey. Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Wendy Poncetti, and I'm a consultant here at Express Information Systems. I'm excited to present 3 productivity tools that we feel everyone that has Dynamics GP should use. These tools enhance the product, and they do make you work smarter and not harder. So let me go ahead and open up the PowerPoint. And so the 3 tools that we are going to look at today, the first tool is going to be the SmartFill tool, and that is a better way to look up data. We will then transition into the advanced SmartList, which enhances the current SmartList that you guys have in the core GP product. And finally, we're going to look at the SmartList Builder tool, which gives you the ability to create or modify existing SmartLists. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our first tool, SmartFill. SmartFill is like a Google-style search tool, and you can easily look up data. It saves you time, and it's just a better way to get information. I'm going to open up my Dynamics GP, and I'm in the demo company, so with demo data, and we're going to look at some examples. I've added some quick links over here on the home page. And so the first example we're going to look at is the account maintenance window. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And what you guys are probably doing today is clicking on the lookup or the magnifying glass to look up GL account numbers. But with SmartFill, you can actually type in text. So for example, let's say I wanted to see my cash accounts. I can actually type in cash in the account number field and hit tab. And what happens is SmartFill then engages and it looks up any account number that has cash in the description. So I'm not, searching through the entire chart of accounts. It pulls up any relevant account numbers that have cash in the description. If I wanted to do a subset search, maybe I wanted to see all my cash accounts that are bank accounts. I can just type in bank and hit tab, and now it's going to return the records that have cash and bank in the description. So it's an easy way to get to that information. Let's do it again. And maybe this time I want to see my petty cash account. So if I just type in petty and hit tab, I only have 1 record in my chart of accounts that have petty in the description. And the system knows that. So it automatically returned the 1 record. So I'm going to go ahead and hit clear here. Now let's go look at our second example in our vendor maintenance window. So in this example, maybe I want to see all of my vendors that are in Chicago. So I can just type in Chicago and hit tab. And again, SmartFill engages and it returns any vendors that either have Chicago in the name or in the city, because that's how I've set it up. Everything is customizable with SmartFill, so you can actually tell it which fields to look at, to search in. And in this example, I told it to look not only in the name, but also in the city. So then if we look at our third example, for those of you that have inventory, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my item maintenance window. And in this example, maybe I want to look at all of my items that have green in the description. I can just type in green and hit tab, and SmartFill will return any items that have green in the description. So let me go ahead and let's put all this together, and we're going to enter a sales invoice. So we're going to go to sales transaction entry, and we're going to tab through our invoice number. And so I'm creating this invoice for a customer. I don't remember the customer name, but I know it's a cabling company. So I'm going to go ahead and type in cable and hit tab. So SmartFill will look up any customers that have cable in the name. And then I remembered, oh yeah, it's the West Side Cable Service Company. And I'm going to sell them some phone cords. So I'm going to go ahead and tab through this. And when I get to the item number, I'm just going to type in cord, and it returns all of my phone cords. What I did here was I actually did a little modification with SmartFill, and I've added the item generic description, and I've added the quantity on hand and the warehouse or site. So as I'm selling the customer these products, I can easily look and see this phone cord that they ordered. I've got 101 on hand in my warehouse. So I know that I can go ahead and invoice them. I have plenty of product on hand, and maybe they purchased 5. And so in this example, we can see how SmartFill helps the end user search not only on master records like GL account numbers, vendors, customers, items, but you can also use it in the transaction entry windows as well. Another very popular reason people get SmartFill is because you can also search on ISV products or any add-on product to Dynamics GP. So let me go ahead and delete this, and we'll go back to our PowerPoint. So that was our SmartFill product, very easy to look up data. Okay, we're going to now look at the Advanced Smart List product. So with Advanced Smart List, this will enhance the smart list that you have in Dynamics GP today. It adds functionality for inquiries, and you can access the data faster. So we're going to jump back into GP and look at some examples. The first example we're going to look at is our financial information. So I'm going to open the core Smart List product in Dynamics. Let me go ahead and expand it for you guys. You can see it. And that first example we're going to look at is financial information under account transactions. And we're going to look at this account transactions favorites. So when you install Advanced Smart List, it basically runs just right out of the box after it's installed. There's no waiting, there's no setup. And what you're going to see after it's installed is in the upper, well, let's say middle here, we can see in the gray area Advanced Smart List. And we've got some icons that we're going to go through. And so that's how you know that Advanced Smart List is installed. So immediately you can actually sort the data by just clicking the column headers. So if I just click on account number, and you can barely see this little arrow, but it sorts ascending and descending. So it's an easy way to just sort any of these columns. You don't have to export this to Excel to do it. You can also reorder your columns by just dragging and dropping. So for example, if I wanted my account description over closer to my account number, I can just drag and drop. And again, I don't have to export this to Excel. Now, one of my favorite features of Advanced Smart List is the groupings. So we can create groupings of the data. So maybe I want to see all of my account numbers in groups. All I have to do is take the header, drag and drop it in this gray area, and it will automatically group my account numbers. I can also sum my data by simply right-clicking under the field that I want to sum. So if I just right-click and say sum, it will automatically add all of the amounts together. So I've done it for my debit, my credit. I can also have a grand total for each account. So right at the very bottom, I would just sum it, and that would be the grand total for all accounts. Not only can I sum, I can actually right-click and I can show a minimum number, maximum number. I can count my documents. So maybe I wanted to count my account numbers or transactions in this case. So I've got 500 transactions, and I'm in the future in my demo company. So you can see my restriction is for the year 2027. So very easily you can group the data, you can sum the data, count the data, don't have to go to Excel. So we have some buttons up here at the top that we can look at. Another feature of Advanced Smart List is you can create a snapshot. And so a snapshot is a way to just have simultaneous views. You can have comparisons or use it for comparisons and use it for data analysis. So it just kind of takes a picture of the data, which is very handy. You can also export this to Excel. So I've got my groupings here. Now, if I do just click this Excel button, and I'll go ahead and export it. It'll open up Excel, and you can see that my groupings did export as well. So I've got my numbers over here on the left, 1, 2, 3. And if I click the 1, I've got a grand total. If I click 2, it's my account totals, and 3 is the detail. So that is nice, where it will actually export those groupings to Excel for you. All right, let me go ahead and close that. We can also have a print preview of the data. And so over here to the right, next to the print icon, there's a print preview icon. So if I click on that, it will print a graphic-rich report where the user can add headers and footers. So they have the ability to modify the report somewhat. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to go ahead and click on header and footer here. So here I've got left side of the page, middle of the page, right side of the page, and I can add my headers and footers. So maybe the user wants to type in a title for the report, and then maybe they want to add the date. So they have some icons up here where you can just easily add the date, and then maybe a timestamp, maybe the user that actually printed it out. You can also add a footer with the page numbers. So very, user friendly. Any user can do this. You don't need to call the IT department to help you with this. Okay. All right. My second example for advanced smart list is going to be in the purchasing area. So if we go to purchasing and then payables transactions, I'm going to go ahead and look at the favorite for my payables transactions. Now what I've done here is I have restricted to the same year, but I only want to see my invoices and payables. So my document type is equal to invoice. And so in this view, what I want to do is group by vendors. So I'm going to click the vendor ID field and go ahead and drag and drop it so that I group all of my vendor transactions together. And then maybe I want to sum my invoices so I know how much each vendor has in invoices. I can also count these invoices by just simply right-clicking is how I'm doing this. I'm just right-clicking and saying sum or right-clicking and saying count. And maybe I want a grand total at the bottom. So same concept that we saw with the account transactions, but now I'm looking at vendor payable transactions. I can do the same thing with payroll. So if I go ahead and look at my payroll data, I'm going to look at some check information. And I'm going to group my employees by department because I want to see the information by department. So for my smart list, I've got all my employee card information, their checks, check numbers, check dates, and then I've got their department here as well. So I'm just going to simply drag and drop in the gray area, which automatically groups the transactions by department. But in this example, I want a subgrouping for employee. So I'm just going to take my employee ID and drag and drop it so it'll connect to the department. Now I can see all of my employees in that department. And then maybe I want all of the check dates. So here I've got 3 groupings, and I can see the data by clicking on the little plus for department. So this will be my expand or collapse. So I'm going to go ahead and expand my accounting department, and I've got several employees in here. And then maybe I want to see their check amounts. So I can go ahead and summarize that. And if I expand each employee, I can also see the check dates and each check total. So I've got some subtotals and grand totals by employee and department. So just, again, a very easy way to summarize the data, group the data, easily export the data. That just enhances the current smart list that you have today in Dynamics GP. Okay, so that is Advanced Smart List. Let's go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint. And our third productivity tool is going to be Smart List Builder. So this tool gives you the ability to create new smart lists or modify existing smart lists. And the neat thing about this tool is not only can you use Dynamics GP tables in the database, but you can also use third-party tables, SQL tables, and SQL views. All right, so let's go back to Dynamics. Okay, now we are going to go back to the smart list as well. We were in payroll just now looking at advanced smart lists, so we're going to go back to payroll. And the first example I want to show you with Smart List Builder is this 401k folder. So typically, you guys are building smart list favorites, which are really, favorites that you build under the folder. But with Smart List Builder, I actually created a new folder. And so with this 401k report, what I did was I added the employee card information with the 401k information I needed. And so we'll look at the tool in a minute. We'll look at a few examples first, and then we'll go and actually look at the Smart List Builder tool. So with that tool, I created calculated fields for the 401k deductions and benefits. Normally that information you will see in rows, but I actually wanted that information in columns. And so I was able to do that with Smart List Builder. Okay, another example is in the purchasing section. I created this folder called AP Apply with GL. Now, what I did here was I wanted to get all of the AP invoice information, check information that is applied to that invoice or check, and then along with the GL account number. So normally you would have to print multiple smart lists and kind of put them together yourself, which is a lot of work. But with Smart List Builder, we can build this through a SQL view, which puts the data in here for you. So for example, I've got this first check. I've got all my check information on the left side of the page. And my check number is 1000.3. And over to the right side of the page, I've got my apply information for my invoices. So that check number paid invoice 1000. Now, the reason I have 4 rows is because I also added my GL account number. And so I can see all of my GL accounts that were related to the invoice and check. So all of this information is in one view, which is extremely helpful. And you can build several of these views with Smart List Builder. Okay, another example, our last example before we look at the tool is I've created this folder down here called Vendors in Chicago. And this was just a very simple smart list I built where I restricted the city to be Chicago. And that was it. I just wanted a new folder for vendors in Chicago. You can still create favorites off of these folders like you normally do, but this gives you the ability to create new folders. Okay, so those are some of the examples. Now let's go look at the actual tool and how I did that. So when Smart List Builder is installed, you're going to see it under Tools, Smart List Builder, and then Smart List Builder. You'll also see Excel Report Builder, Navigation List Builder, which we'll look at in a second. But let's go ahead and open up Smart List Builder. Okay, and I'm going to open up that first example we looked at with 401k report. So this is the tool, and the way you build new Smart List is you will link either GP tables or SQL tables and views, and then once you link the tables like I did here, these are GP tables. Then over on the right, depending on the table that you're looking at, over on the right, it'll show you the fields. So it's very easy to select which fields you want to display and which fields you want to default. It's a very simple checkbox. You either check it on or check it off. So any user can do this. And so, you know, if you're sitting here going, oh, I don't know these tables in GP, I don't know if that's right for me. It's very, very easy. We've got lots of resources, and I can definitely help you with that. So don't let that scare you at all. So let's go ahead and look at some of these icons at the top as well. So if we click on columns, we can see all of the fields that we basically turned on and said that we were going to default for this smart list. And I can renumber or move my columns around just by simply highlighting. I can say move up or move down. So very easy to renumber the columns. And this is for the default whenever it is presented in the smart list. Okay, you can also click on the Go To button to create go-tos, and those are when you're in the smart list and you double click on a record, it will automatically open up a window. Well, here's where you tell it which window you want. So I told it I wanted the employee maintenance window when I were to look at that employee's 401k information. I'd wanted to open up the employee maintenance window. But you can create several go-tos. And it's very, very easy to do. You can also click on restrictions and create restrictions, which we'll see here in a second. I don't have any on this one, but they're very easy to create. And then you can create calculations, and that's actually how I created the 401k benefit and deduction columns. So these are calculated fields that you can build with Smart List Builder. Another option is you can summarize the data. I actually did summarize the data, the smart list. I summarized it by employee. So the way I built it was I gathered all the transactions and summarized it for my 401k report. If you have multiple companies, another really strong feature of Smart List Builder is you can make it a multi-company smart list. And they would list all the companies here. I actually don't have any other companies in my demo data, but if I did, I would see the companies listed here, and then you can select which companies you want to see. And that smart list will then show data from all the companies. And it will also give you the company ID and the company name in the smart list. So that's a very, very powerful feature. You can also duplicate the smart list, and you can duplicate it into an Excel report or a navigation list. And we will cover these here in a second and just see how neat these are. So let me go ahead and cancel out of here. And let's now take a look at that second example, the AP apply. Which is the payables transactions we looked at that had the check information, the invoice information, and all the GL information. And you can see the way I created that smart list was with a SQL view. So there was some coding in the database that we would insert in, and we can have Smart List Builder look at that table or view in the database and then pull in all the fields. And you would select which fields you want to default. So very, very easy, very flexible, because you can do that coding in the database. And then the third example was the vendors in Chicago. Now this was just a very simple smart list I created where I just grabbed the vendor card table, and then I put in a restriction to say my city field is equal to Chicago. And that was it. I was done. No big deal. Very simple. So you can have very simple, a very complicated smart list. And the whole idea is you have the data in the system. You just need the tool to be able to get that data in a format that you need it in. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at an Excel report. So what I did was I duplicated that last smart list, the vendors in Chicago, and I duplicated it as an Excel report. So I've added it here to my quick links as well. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And when you create an Excel report with the Excel builder, it will automatically link it to the database. And you have these predefined filters, which is very nice. You can also go to your data tab at the top and you can click the refresh button and it will refresh with the latest and greatest data in GP. You can also put totals at the bottom. Here in this darker blue area would be some totals. And it's just a great way to create an Excel refreshable report. Very easy to do. And all you have to do is take that smart list and say duplicate as an Excel report. So then the last example is our navigation list builder. I'm going to go ahead and open up that tool. And with the navigation list, I actually created, or I duplicated from my smart list. And I duplicated as a navigation list. You can see it here. We've got our ID, our table. So it looks identical to the smart list builder window. So once you learn one tool, you've pretty much learned all three tools within Smart List Builder. It's the same concept. You've got tables on the left with the fields, and then you're just simply selecting by checking the boxes of which fields you would like to display on your navigation list. So let's go look at that. I'm going to go ahead and close the tool and go back to my purchasing series. And over on the left, these are my navigation lists. You've got navigation lists in each series in Dynamics GP. This one I happened to build in my purchasing series. And so when I built it, it created it and put it here at the bottom. So if I click on vendors in Chicago, I can see my new navigation list. And then, you know, you're familiar with navigation list already. You can do the same queries and things that you can do with normal navigation list. So I hope you've enjoyed the demo and you can take advantage of these tools. We think everyone using Dynamics GP should absolutely use these tools. It will help you be more efficient in your day-to-day activities. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Casey, and we can open it up for questions if there are any.
All right. Well, thank you, Wendy. Excellent presentation. If anyone has any questions, please you can either unmute yourself and ask now, or you can type those into the chat box. While we're waiting, if anyone does want information on these products, these are all relatively inexpensive products. So if you would like pricing or any additional information, please contact either myself or Raina, whoever your account manager is, and we would be happy to get you the information that you need. All right, it does not look like any questions are coming through. So Wendy, thank you so much for the presentation, and everybody, thank you for joining, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.